the combination of natural and synthetic fibers is a big problem.
Labels and the stitching, that's where I feel problem lies.
Possibly limiting the quantity of synthetic garments we have and limit the times we wash them.
To keep the stitches stronger, we use a thread which is mixed with cotton and polyester.
When I was young, living with my mother, I used to take things out of her wardrobe.
You are listening to Rooted by Arpitharai, a place where we dig deep into the fashion industry's hidden layers. Formerly Style Meets Sustainability, this new name reflects our growing mission to spotlight the roots of circular fashion, one story at a time. I'm Arpita, and today's guest brings over 3 decades of expertise in fashion forecasting and sustainability. Let's begin. Today's guest is someone whose work has quietly shaped what designers and brands see before a trend hits the runway. Meet Cinzia Gremmo, the CEO of Italtex, Italy's leading publisher of fabric trend books since 1959. Based in Biella, the heart of high end Italian menswear, Cinzia brings decades of foresight and innovation to textile publishing. With a deep respect for nature, a love for cats, wild and domestic, and a home nestled in the woodlands, she has woven sustainability into her personal life and professional legacy. Cynthia, welcome to Rooted. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, Alpita. I'm so really glad and honored to be here with you.
You have spent years immersed in the fashion industry, but also surrounded by nature. Let's start there. What does a typical morning look like in your woodland home?
Well, you know, my husband and I like living in the country. Actually, we live in the woodland, and so we decided to have the our garden unfenced. So sometime, not every day, I must say, but sometime when we go downstairs for breakfast, we even find maybe a deer eating the grass in the garden and something like that. I mean, other wild animals. So yeah, that's the my beginning of the day. So in a strict connection with nature.
That's lovely. I would love to be in that kind of environment. And coming to our textiles and trend forecasting and all, Italix has been a trusted name since 1959. What was it like joining the family legacy in 1988?
Well, I was born practically in the company um, because the company was set up by my father, and even when I was a kid, I used to come to the office and play, of course, rather than do anything else. But yes, the situation, at the time was very different. Um, Trends were very important, but it was a more balanced situation when there was not such a mass consumption of fabrics and garments. It was already quite heavy, but nothing like fast fashion existed at the time. So it was really something I fell in love with because it was like very creative and in touch with the market, in touch with the consumer, in touch with everybody in the industry. So really, a really creative situation. Um, it has changed a lot over the years, uh, especially because the market has changed so much. Uh, in a way, people tend to think that trends are the cause of consumption, but actually it's not quite like that, because uh, trends give you some inputs on the colors, on the patterns, on the materials that can be trendy in that season. But usually they just give you the basis to make your purchase in a good way. I mean, you know what you're looking for, but you don't just waste money buying quantities. You will look for something that has extra, that can convey a meaning. And especially now, well, the direction is that purchasing things with a purpose.
That was very interesting to know. And for our listeners who may not be familiar, what exactly is a fabric trend book and who uses it?
Fabric trend books are books that are used by the textile designers, which show the new trends on colors, using also some, for instance, Pantone reference codes, so everybody knows what color really it is. We show the new trend of patterns and materials. So we provide the basis for the textile designers and also the garment manufacturers, stylists, to create their next collection, but starting from some basic information, because they need a lot of inputs to then create something new, but they need to start from information.
That's a very clear answer there. And now, Biella is known as textile capital. What makes it so special in the context of Italian fashion?
Well, we have various reasons why Biella is a special textile town. On the one hand, its story. We are a town by the Italian Alps, and of course, also over the centuries, people have always woven fabrics for local or even just family use. But in the 19th century, the real industry started here. It developed essentially thanks to Mr. Sella, who was a guy from a family that had some handlooms. And after studying, he went for some time to the UK to work as an ordinary worker and to understand what made the productions over there so special. This way, he found out that the new looms, they were the first mechanical looms, were really driving the change. So in 1817, he came back to Biella, and he started importing these looms. So the industry really started. In Biella, there is a deep knowledge on materials, especially wool. Most companies are vertical, so they devote special care all the way from the fiber to the fabric. Basically, these are the essential elements, and creativity, of course, because since it is a widespread and important industry locally, there is a lot of creativity, research. What makes it like what comes out from a very connected industrial district. So all the knowledge coming from different people with different kinds of expertise. The result is that there is a deep knowledge on the industry, and production is at the top levels in terms of fibers, in terms of processes, and that's why eventually the quality of fabrics from Biella is at the top. Besides, there is also another interesting thing about Biella, because it's not an industrial town as one could imagine it. It's more like there are different mills spread around Biella, some on the land, some at the feet of the mountains. So it doesn't give you at all the feeling you are in an industrial town. And that's why also tourism is doing quite well, especially the green one. People come here to relax, enjoy the mountains, and go around biking and walking in the area.
I've seen the pictures of Biella when you mentioned that name. So it's a very beautiful place. Apart from wool, what else, what other kind of fabrics are available in Biella?
In Biella, the production is based on wool. So it's basically wool for winter, sometimes combined with other fibers, and linen and wool based for summer. However, uh, we as Italtex, in our trend books, we don't just show the production of our area, but we are also in touch with the other areas in Italy where they produce all kinds of different fabrics, like in Lombardia, where they make shirting, in the area near Florence, in Prato, where they make a lot of women's wear in different fibers. So that's why we know a bit of everything, but Biella, the roots are on wool.
Got it, got it. And while Italics holds strong to tradition, you have also led the way in introducing sustainability into forecasting. Now you live immersed in nature, as you were telling me in the beginning, with deers, foxes, and forest life surrounding you. How has this connection changed your views on fashion and sustainability?
Well, that has created a deep connection with Earth, with nature. So living there has changed my way of looking at life, and has driven me to make some changes in my life, so that in a way that makes it more sustainable. I feel the need to reconnect with it, and for that reason, I have changed everything. Not everything, but many actions of my daily life to minimize my impact on the earth. So the result is also my interest in sustainability, to create a balance between our way of living and the place, Earth, where we are living.
Yeah, that's a major impact you have with your surroundings. And you were mentioning about the factories being in the city, under the near the mountains, and all that. So I just want to understand how they operate with the disposal of whatever chemicals they have used, and how the air pollution is controlled. How does that happen? Just give a glimpse of it, whatever you know of it.
Well, in Italy, we have a lot of laws against pollution. So there are every company has a lot of systems to avoid polluting. I don't know technically how they work, but they have all the processes needed to avoid it.
Okay, that sounds promising. And I want to understand. You do trend forecasting. Do you even produce the fabrics, or you just do the trend forecasting?
No, we only do the trend forecasting. We don't have any production.
How do you get a hand on all these new trendy fabrics? How do you get into the industry, and how do you pick these fabrics which are suitable as a trend and at the same time sustainable?
Well, we are continuously in touch with everyone else in the industry, say at fabric and at garment level. So we see all the evolution that there is, because the trend is always an evolution from something. We try, on the one hand, we see what is trendy, and if, like, at present there are many crazy combinations that are trendy, we cannot hide that. We must show and explain that this is the trend of the market. But on the other hand, we also know that there are a lot of new fibers, of new ways to produce, that make everything sustainable. So we make a lot of research also in terms of this. You know what? Sometimes even going to certain textile exhibitions, because, for instance, in Milan, at Milano Unica, there is an area dedicated to startups, and several of them create something about recycling, or creating new sustainable dyes or whatever. And so it's always interesting and a great source of inspiration that then we try to convey to the rest of the industry, including into our books.
Yeah, that's a very interesting process there. As a fashion designer, I work with some trend forecasting books. In those, we get any and every kind of trend there. But what you are doing with Italtex is really interesting because you are focusing on sustainable materials. That's really a great step you are taking in. And Himgra fiber from Himalayan grass sounds fascinating. I worked with Mr. Sharma, and I want to know how you came across it and what's its potential in reshaping luxury fashion.
Yes, well, I came across them because they were following us on LinkedIn. And one day, Mr. Sharma just wrote to me, and we started discussing about their new fiber. We understood that Himgra is a great sustainable fiber, because it doesn't need any, it grows naturally. So there is no chemical needed, no waste of water, nothing. It is just, it grows by itself. The way it is handled, the production helps local communities. It also has a ethical side on it. It is one of the best solutions because all the processes are made in a simple way. They involve the work of locals, but they are not at the big industrial level that destroys areas and creates all kinds of problems. It is a beautiful fiber, first of all, because it's very smooth, has a special light. So it's really perfect for luxury fashion. Also, because we must consider that since they don't grow these, and since it is not made in an industrial way, the production is limited. Therefore, it cannot be used for mass productions of garments, but for the luxury fashion is perfect. Also, because besides its technical characteristics, it also offers a reason to the consumer why to buy it, because more and more, especially the new generations, are not just buying to waste time, money, and everything, but they are looking for something with a purpose. And Himgra provides that kind of fabric and garment.
Lovely to know that. And I'm very happy to know that Indian fabric, the Himalayan fiber, is now going to be part of Italtex podcast book. And I love to hear the story of the Italian organization reviving local sheep wool. You mentioned that wool is the major material which you use in Italy or in your area where you live. Could you share how they are using undyed, naturally colored wool and what the deeper significance of that is?
This Italian organization that is basically supporting and promoting the use of Italian wools has become more and more important. What you were talking about is the use of what we call moretta wool, which is the use of natural undyed wool. As you know, wool comes, I mean, sheeps have different colors. So usually they are divided by color. The fibers are divided by color, and then they are kept as they are. They are spinned without dyeing anything, and then they are used as they are. So there are many productions of different patterns with, say, a white background, beige, brown, black colors combined to make different patterns. It is not only made with the local wools. It is something normally made with any kind of wool coming from anywhere.
Okay, that's interesting. These innovations are like incredible, and many of our listeners want to understand how they can take small but real steps themselves. What are the most important things someone should check on a garment label before making a purchase?
Well, first of all, it's important to check the garment label every time we want to buy something. We know sometimes we're just attracted by a garment, but we should also think, well, just stop a minute and check what it is, what makes it. Because, for instance, the combination of natural and synthetic fibers is a big problem because fabrics made this way cannot be recycled. So, although they may be promoted as sustainable, because, for instance, they say, okay, there is some recycled cotton, some cotton, and then recycled polyester. Okay, but you will never be able to really recycle it completely. It can only be used to create some some other materials that will last anyway forever.
I totally agree with you about the recycled materials. Talking about a combination of natural and synthetic fibers being so problematic, and how can a consumer navigate this more consciously?
Possibly, garments should be made of a single material. This way, they can be really recycled perfectly. Possibly natural. Think of cotton fabrics, including recycled cotton. We know cotton is not so sustainable because of the high quantity of water it needs, the chemicals used in growing them. But when it is combined with a percentage of recycled cotton, it's already something. On the other hand, we should just think, okay, there are some issues about cotton, but the main issue is on the quantity of garments consumed. If the quantity was lower, the impact would be much different. Okay. Then there are some perfect fibers like linen. Linen is sustainable because we don't need to water it. There is no use of chemicals. Um, it has also the way of working it. It depends on the way it is worked, but there are ways to produce it that are sustainable. Other a bit less. It's true. Then we know there are the fibers, as we were talking about Himgra, about kapok. So it can be also a combination of these natural fibers because we know that they are just vegetables. And so after use, even if you throw them in again, you put them again in a way in the earth, it will be good for the environment and it will not harm the environment.
Super. Thank you so much for that. Okay, many people don't realize that microplastics are released every time we wash synthetic garments. How can we be more mindful about this?
Possibly limiting the quantity of synthetic garments we have. Of course, there are certain products where they must be synthetic. Think of active sportswear, about garments for hiking and trekking, but we can at least limit the quantity of these garments and limit the times we wash them.
Yeah, that's a very simple and straightforward way anybody can follow to reduce their impact on the planet. And what are your thoughts on the role of fashion education and how can brands or individuals better communicate the why behind sustainability?
It's very important to carry out a whole process of education, informing consumers of all the problems and risks connected to the different fibers, the different combinations of materials. Stylists and designers can conceive their garments trying to keep them sustainable, avoid combining many different materials in them, possibly keep the same kind of material for the whole garment, like the label, some decorations, everything, the stitches, all possibly in the same kind of material.
Yeah, when you mentioned about the labels and the stitching and everything, that's where I feel problem lies. Because even if we take a linen shirt, this is a linen shirt, which is a major issue. And then again, these buttons on this particular shirt, these are all natural buttons, but we use plastic buttons to match the color. So there are many things like that which we all need to keep in mind while we are purchasing any garment. And as a designer, when I get a garment stitched, and this is very recent a change in my mindset, I try to avoid all the trims like zipper, elastic. So my designing itself is changed. I don't use elastic, so then I go for drawstring for the waistband. I don't want to use zipper. So I use loose fitting garments where you don't need proper tight fitted body. So those kind of small things can be kept in mind while designing, while purchasing. Yeah, I love that thought which you shared there. And we often talk about sustainability as something technical, but it's also cultural. How do you view the tradition of sharing and rewearing garments, like passing down saris in India? Like I get my mom's saris, I love to wear them, or clothes within families in Italy. Do you do those kind of sharing and hand me downs in Italy?
Well, yes. uh, but it's something that I would say is becoming a little bit more common recently. Well, although sometimes I think we just do it and we don't even realize it's something useful or whatever. I remember even when I was young, living with my mother, I used to take things out of her wardrobe. But yes, I also do it, for instance, with my sister in law. if someone has an issue with some sizes or something, can show it to the other. And maybe if that's a person who makes good purchases, that's very useful. You get nice things, sustainable, possibly, garments, and there is no issue, and everybody will be happy, and it is the perfect way to live in a sustainable way.
I'm so happy to know that you used to share your mom's clothes. My daughter, she grew until my height already. We both also share our clothes. But there are certain things which she likes from my wardrobe, so she picks them. And I used to pick up my mom's clothes, like saris, basically. So that's the kind of mindset everybody should have. Nowadays, it's become like, I don't want to wear somebody else's clothes. I want to buy new clothes for myself. That's the mindset I think need to change. Thank you for these rich insights, Cinzia. As we close, we'd love to leave our listeners with a moment of reflection. Before we wrap up, we invite each guest to leave behind a small message, like a note in a shared book. Since we are recording online, feel free to say a few words that capture your experience being part of this conversation.
Thank you, Arpita. Thank you very much for this conversation. I think it will be helpful. It's a good way, as we said, to promote sustainability and to educate the consumer and the other people involved in the industry, so that mm, production little by little changes and gets more sustainable, and
Mhm.
also all the crazy way, the push we get
Yeah.
from the society about buying things stops a little bit, and people get more conscious about what they do and why they buy new garments. So what I can say is, let's see what other people in the industry or the next people you will interview can tell about their experience and the way they feel, and they observe the situation of the industry, textile and cloth industry, and sustainability.
Thank you so much for all those nice words. And one last thing, we love passing on wisdom through our episodes. Could you leave a question for our next guest, who's also someone shaping the future of sustainable fashion?
Yeah, I would like to know from the next people you will interview, what is the main change they are making to make the way of working more sustainable?
That's a lovely question. I will ask this question to my next guest, and it will be seen in the next episode. Thank you so much, Cinzia, for today. You have given great insights, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Alpita. I really appreciate it. It's always very nice talking to you.
Same
Thank
here.
you to everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's another episode of Rooted by Arpitharai. I hope it sparked something in you, because real change always starts from within. It's not about following trends, it's about staying true to who you are and making a difference in your own way. Here, we honor the quiet work beneath the surface, the stories, the systems, and the seeds of change. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the podcast on your favorite platform. It's streaming everywhere. And if you can, leave a review. It really helps more people find these stories. I would love to hear your thoughts and keep growing this rooted movement with you. Until next time, keep questioning, keep choosing consciously, and as always, wear your values.